Okay, Mr. Jimmy Greer, once again, thank you very much for being part of this third biennial oil and gas conference and Just Transition Initiative conference. During your talk, you talked about climate-related financial disclosures. What role do you see the accounting profession, as example ACCA, playing within the Caribbean region in regards to this climate risk and these financial disclosures?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Shane. It's an amazing conference, and it's a pleasure to be invited to participate. Climate risk disclosures are the real deal in terms of getting decision useful, highly precise information to financial markets about climate risks of business. When you think about oil and gas, for example, the level of disclosures when we're thinking about how we're going to get to maintain global warming under 2 degrees, these are the disclosures that are required by financial markets to understand if we're going to get there or not, and what a company's exposure is to this. And that's why they're so important, and that's why in the region they can provide that kind of transparency around the state of play when we're thinking about these much higher level political aims of things like the Paris Climate Agreement. There's a huge role for the accounting profession here, and that's why it was so interesting to be here, part of an event with a legal profession, with scientists, with regulators. Everyone's got their area, right? For the profession, the accounting profession, they've got a chance to contribute by bringing their financial skills to bear on creating sustainability information that is balanced, that is a faithful representation, has all the kind of qualities that you'd expect from financial reporting. Yes. And that's really the big win here, and the big role the profession is going to play. At ACCA, you know, we've seen sustainability reporting, we want to call it that, the demand for sustainability information just keep rising from financial markets, but also other stakeholders, and the demand for that information to be really transparent, really high quality. Increasingly, we know that this needs to be done by finance professionals. It needs to be allocated to finance professionals by proper strategy, have the ability to put the internal controls in place, the ability to audit this information effectively, all of these kind of things that the profession is really well placed to provide. So we certainly feel at ACCA that this can help professionals of the future, not just coming through, but also ones that can learn these new skills through lifelong learning, to provide them with extra elements for their career progression.
Okay, so understood. So now, anytime you have any type of financial disclosures, there is a cost associated to that, because you need to take time to collect the data. You need to make sure that the risks that you're allocating are correctly done. So what kind of feedback have you been getting from businesses when you approach them, or when you approach them about this climate-related financial disclosures? Have you been getting some what we call pushback?
Well, I think you've pulled out a really good question. You know, are climate risks on the risk register at the same level as other things? You know, we're talking about cybersecurity, other legal issues. Well, actually, you know, increasingly they are. And what's so interesting about climate risk is this process of creating the task force for climate-related financial disclosures, which I spoke about in my talk, that was put together by the Governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, via the Financial Stability Board, via the G20, has now got all of this sort of CEO level endorsement, and it's that. So it's got all of this CEO level endorsement, and it's that CEO level endorsement that's been really key at essentially the push is coming from the top to say finance teams deal with this.
Understood. Okay. And finally, once again, we talked about financial risk, we talked about climate risk and what ACCA can do. Is there any And you talked about education is needed.
Yeah.
What kind of training is available to persons who want to learn and want to understand more about this kind of news?
Sure. Well, I think the tools are out there, right? So, in this day and age, you can find there is a hub, the TCFG hub, which is a free online resource, loads of information about how to report against these recommendations. We're putting together some online learning to help our members engage with getting the skills to deal with these issues, or kind of putting it into their own frame. So these tools are being developed by us, but also by others. So we're at the start of this journey of the TCFD, and we expect the tools to grow, and the demand for tools from the marketplace to be put on us, people like us, and others, to meet that demand. And that's that's where we come in, to use the skills that we have in education provision to create the kind of content and materials required.
Well, Jimmy, thank you very much for your time. It has been, as you said, a great conference. It's interdisciplinary, so we learned from, I say, geologists, we learned from lawyers, we gave our accounting perspective, and once again, thank you for adding to that.
Thanks, Shane. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.